I love.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Answer the phone.
Me too.
I like that. YouTube, what's happening? How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the show. We got a great one for you today again. This is like a ritual. Every show we have, it's like just great dope shows. You know what I'm talking about? So now Facebook. Okay, we live with both of them. How y'all doing out there? I hope all is well. Welcome. I forgot who I was, man. I ain't do it right, man. I missed the whole part.
You get a pass, King. Come on with it. Come on.
All right, now, welcome to Outlaw Radio, where we talk that talk and we definitely walk that walk, raising vibrations and elevating thought. Y'all better come on in. I am the Black woman lover, his brother, the culture teacher, hood healer, your holistic health and wellness coach, Kamar Carter. Peace. I'm also the one who brings you nature's natural herbs and supplements, oxygen in your blood. So guess what? This also helps with that coronavirus thing. It all makes sense. It's easier than we think. You know what I mean? We make this shit. We all get charged. Now, we got, like I said, we got a dope show ahead of us today. We got a great guest, the usual suspects. Talk to them, sister.
What did they ready to get it done?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, man. The People's Network presents Outlaw, the world-class smart ass, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. So what we do is we talk a little shit and swallow a little spit for a while here on Thursday nights. I told you we kind of ease into it because Wednesday we just kind of kissing on the neck, we getting it wet. Thursday we move, yeah. Friday night we gonna finish, we gonna climax.
Yeah.
Saturday night,
bang.
Saturday night we climax with Outlaw Radio, man. But you know, we ain't gonna give it to you rough yet. We gonna speed up a little bit, speed our stroke up. So hit like, hit share, hit follow, man. Support the movement. Shout out to all Black businesses. I tell you all the time that everything I do and every way we move is about trying to secure some money. Because if you live in the United States of America, you don't got no money, you don't got shit. I don't care how you dress. I don't care what symbols you have. I don't care what ideology you preach. If you don't got some paper behind it, you're going nowhere fast. So we out, right? Like
we wasn't ready though. We wasn't ready. We really wasn't ready. On top of the fact that it's all love, and just need y'all to understand that don't blame our mind or our heart. You dig what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what you shouldn't do. Don't have me buy this inventory and then y'all start. Special guest, he came in here, and I want, in particular, those Black people who came here via the Great Migration, those disintegrated and disinformed, right? And those people who they just put over here and said, fuck it, perspective is myself. So I want to give him a welcome to the show, brother. You can pull it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you all for letting me be here.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Sister Lit.
There we go.
My name is Orlando. There you go. Magic's happening. My name is Orlando Owens, and I am running for the 11th Assembly District. I reached out to these very talented individuals who I've been watching the show for a while, and I said, you know, I want to go, and they extended the invitation.
You better come on in.
So I'm hoping I do okay tonight.
Oh, you'll be okay. Because your brother said, when can I come? I said, what you doing tomorrow?
Just like that.
Tomorrow? What time? It's 7:30. Well, you know, I was thinking, no, what time you doing? What you doing tomorrow? Come tomorrow. So because this is a political season, this is a political climate that we live in, we've had a lot of political candidates for various offices, and I brought basically non-incumbents, except for Lena Taylor, because she is a senator, and DC, who is actually a state rep right now. Those races that they're running for, they were not the incumbents, because I think everybody in power now needs to go. I don't think you need any more proof. I don't think we need to dig up statistics or make up. So it's time for change, and I'm interested, as Big Mike said, in what it looks like. So, my brother, you are a Republican, correct?
I am. I'm a conservative who votes Republicans, but yeah, I tend to vote Republican.
I'm sound checking.
Little sound checking.
Look here.
So let me ask you a question. Now, I think you called me actually. Must have been around September.
I did.
Okay, so that's you.
Yes, sir.
And I laughed about it with a lot of. A Black dude called me talking about he the leader of the
there. I played AFY football for the Bandits.
Them college helmets over there.
I played for the Spartans.
All right.
I played for the Spartans.
Hey, them college helmets over there.
That's real time.
That ain't right. That ain't Pee Wee League. That's scholarship football.
Our Street Bandits. To my friend Dennis walking out there, he was a teammate of mine.
Silver Spring Neighborhood Center. Silver Spring Spartans.
Good football. Good football.
Yeah. I hear you with your 12-year-old ass. I got you. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
So I played morning basketball for the Great Lincoln Park.
Okay.
Many a battle over there, right off of Hampton. 20 program, played at Tulsa West High School.
Mm-hmm. Is that where they got you at?
I don't know. It definitely went down. We played some good ball out there.
I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about this. I want to know where the Republic. I get that you played a lot of youth sports.
Okay.
I want to know where this conservative thing happened.
So down in the line.
Right.
Played a little football, basketball there too. But when I came back, I thought, that's what the party I was supposed to be a part of. Even a lot of traditional thinking. So I believed in my guns. My granddad Marine, grandfather's a Marine.
With the shits.
There you go. I love hunting and fishing.
With the shits.
I love business. I'm also about mission.
All up and through here. My wife done probably put oil all over this.
That's the one.
We know she gave us the Corona wipes.
Yes, she did.
She probably got some holy oil up in these wipes.
Thank you, Queen.
Probably like here in the city.
Right.
But going there, they had a black mayor, black police chief.
Atlanta, yes.
Man, I love the black because I was like, man, this is where it's going down. And I saw black people for like besides working class, big. I'm like, man, these guys jumping out of the beds with briefcases, and these dudes is not hustling. They came back. There are some things I just heard that was really I didn't like. I didn't like when I went to some of these meetings on the other side. They talked about how blacks needed white folks to make it.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute, I just left black Mecca. And then, for me growing up in the church, not saying I was perfect, I'm still making mistakes.
Come on, man, I'm a PK. You ain't gotta get that disclaimer.
So my faith kind of drew me, and that was kind of the two biggest things that kind of drew me to the Republican Party.
Okay.
But even in that party, I saw a lot of things need to be done.
Okay.
It wasn't, like in most organizations you join.
Call, please respect the platform, because I'll hang up on your ass. Respect this brother, respect us. If you guys, then put it in the chat room or something, because we do got an active chat room. Go to YouTube. None of y'all watch the YouTube anyways. Because everybody's on Facebook, right? For us, our demo, because we're old black people, and that's my kids told me that's where old black people go, to Facebook. So no, I wanted to see everything that you said. Going to Atlanta, and they're lawyers and they're corporate black people in Atlanta, and there's a lot popping in Atlanta. And I can see how you could say, black man, this feels good as a black person to be able to see this.
Yep.
Really say, I want to be with them.
Uh-huh.
Like, to me, that's a mind. I don't want to say, that's a mind screw to go from that to say.
Why you don't want to say fuck now?
Okay, you right.
He a PK.
Liz, I see you over there like we playing double dutch. I can't wait to go. But I just want you to just give him my perspective on it, because growing up here, and I've been out of the city, college or whatever. Like I was talking about that ball, y'all played the ball I played.
Yes, sir.
So I went a lot of different places and seen things, and I too said, well, damn, it's crazy that our black people are not as progressive in my city like they are here. With tight steeple. Okay, in this city, a racist power structure, the last stop on the Great Migration, and I just say, I don't see anything like you go to North. This state is 86% white.
Period. So
it basically trumps everything, because 85% of that 12% of this state live in southeastern Wisconsin. That means you're isolated.
Yeah.
We got you boxed in.
To me.
Yeah.
I need to know what you mean. These are good, these are bad. Let me figure it out for myself. And when I heard the things that was here, I said, yeah, this doesn't line up with me. So I'm pro-black. Don't mean I'm anti-anything, but I'm definitely pro-black. So I feel you about when I came back as a business student, I got a degree in business. I saw, we got to have some opportunities here to make, we need to be in a position that we can call some shots. And so I saw that.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure you say English. Black people racist too. Oh, no. I was about to say, don't get Panema. She's a verb now.
We don't want to get Panema.
Don't get Panema.
When I saw both sides not really, being, really friendly to blacks.
Yes.
That made me understand. Let me look at. So you know what? both of these parties, ain't the best for Black folks. And I need to find my pathway that I think I can help. And it just kind of it was more of a natural fit for me. For me, I'm always about Black folk. I got to see my white conservatives sometimes because you look at my flyer, I got a sign.
Let me see the flyer. Somebody hit me with the flyer.
We
on my flyer.
I know y'all did. I'm just saying I didn't get that one.
And some of my people
I'm
like,
ADHD.
you doing with that fist on your flyer, Orlando? That's the Union fist. That's the socialist fist. I said, well, you ask Black people what that means. That's Black pride. That's Black freedom.
Real talk.
Black struggle.
Okay.
And so when I said that, the white people said, "Oh, let me back up." I said, "Thank you." And they said, "I understand it." Because that for me, I'm only Black no matter what. First and foremost, I'm a minister of the gospel of Christ. Doesn't mean I'm perfect.
God,
right. So, but then from there, America. So I understand things a little bit differently, and that's why my brand of conservatism or my brand of republicanism is a little bit different. I'm a city kid. Went to public school, grew up on W2, block cheese. I understand the spam. I understand it all. So I'm running as Orlando in the 11th Assembly District.
Then why not run independent?
Now, I would definitely like to do that if there was an independent Black party that we get funded to, because these are the two major parties.
So they're giving you money.
Well, it's a campaign, so you got to raise
money. So you get money from the Republicans, but what they're actually doing.
So I believe that there's some good ideas on both sides. And I can be, as a minister, I can get fair review. Brothers, primarily here in the city, find employment.
Right.
And so a collaboration.
Even if they're felons.
Even if they're felons, yes, sir. So a collaboration that I came on staff, and it's so often that people say, when you get these seats, Orlando, you don't eat it all.
You gotta eat me. That's let me work and serve y'all the damn food. I mean, that's the in between that people forget about. Right. Black Girl Magic, what you got for this over here?
I mean, I kind of experienced something to that extent. And so with Orlando, I had him prior for other individuals to understand that if we not in the room, how do we get them to understand our issues? You know what I'm saying? Like, if not in the room, how do we take our issues to that room? So understand his placement and what he's choosing to do. But at the same time, too, in those same fucking rooms, I also know that the bullshit is real. You dig what I'm saying? Right. Because certain individuals will try to use you, you dig what I'm saying, to push an agenda. And you have to be real weary so that you ain't getting fucked royally with no Vaseline.
Brother Kamara, okay.
And I think
you know what I'm talking about. You need pieces on both sides of the board. We need people over here to hear what they talking about in this room.
Republican,
we need some people over here to hear what they talking about in this room.
Okay.
And then we can somehow meet in the middle.
And it's funny, like I always
say, you know what
say,
I mean, and try to work to get this shit done.
I agree. And it's funny that, like I always tell people, be who you are, all right. So. But I'm saying the same thing to you now that I was saying to you on the phone that day.
Yes, sir.
And I think we were on the phone for about 2 hours.
You talked a while.
Because you kind of took my whole lunch break. I was trying to get a sandwich. Like, hold on, man. Let me get that corned beef. But it was crazy. So I'm saying Black Republican can answer the question that I just laid out. Because the truth of that is they aren't doing nothing. They are not doing a thing for us. But here's the reality. This is called pandering. This is why Hillary lost us. You got some hot sauce in your purse? Really? Now you want to dance to Beyonce? Really? Not going to vote for you.
Real talk.
You cannot pander to Black people. And we know that the Republicans want our vote.
We do.
And they do. So what they'll do is, and this is our paranoia, they'll go get a Black puppet and put their hand up his butt and go do this in front of the camera for us. And we keep saying we ain't falling for the okie doke. And who even knows what the okie doke is? Like Black people say that all. What is the okie doke?
Some silly shit.
Right, but it's like, what is it like? It's nothing you can hold in your. Oh, you fell for the okie doke. Well, what is that?
I mean, it's whatever it is.
I know. You're being very soft and emotional. Right?
But I just really feel like it's one of those things where, just on the strength of having enough heart, not follow the masses, because I'm a true believer and I don't care what you represent as long as you're standing for something. You dig what I'm saying? And even if you are on the opposing side, you being skin kin to me, like all I'm saying is make sure what it is that you're saying, that you gonna stand on that you gonna mean that, because I'd be the same motherfucker that come to you and be like, ain't this what the fuck you said? You dig what I'm saying? Like, so it really don't matter what you represented. All of
people do not want to be passive.
Writing this shit down.
We want to talk about this shit.
Real talk.
But let's talk about it fairly. Keep all your what you call them, Liz, spin tactics and juke techniques.
Real talk.
Talk to me like I'm informed and I understand the last 400 years North American history. Give me that respect. So when we talk now, Mo, because then I'm gonna snap.
Yeah.
And that make me start making rap songs and shit like about you. So that's the one thing. And the second thing is come up with a black agenda or do not ask me for my vote. So here's the problems in my community. Which one of them you got a plan for?
Have like just want to have a conversation. Don't come in and assume, like, you know, with the Trump thing, like, well, this the worst it's ever been, so you might as well do, like, don't come at us.
Oh, that was
like,
gangster. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Don't even come at us
what
like,
you got, what the hell you got to lose?
I mean, you think we're gonna choose to lose just because you do get what I'm saying? Like,
you admit that you know it's fucked up. So why you keep saying it's not?
What I'm saying is that's assault to our intelligence, and anybody that's being hit like that should take that shit as a straight insult. You act like you don't know.
Another thing if you over 50, old white people, they say colored, those people, Negroes, talk. And
they said
white people, that understand a little bit more,
who had black friends,
who've grown up in a more diverse world,
where
it's a global economy, where there's an internet that made the world smaller. We now can look at somebody's culture and say, "Oh, it ain't no more I didn't know."
Right.
You should know. So we need, like, and I don't give millennials a lot of credit, but I'll give them that. They're tolerant of a lot of different things. So I want white people to know there's no building trust with me if you an old white man. I don't want to hear your procedures. I don't want to hear your policies. I don't want you to give me the spin speech about, well, some of my greatest friends. I'm friends with a lot of African Americans. First of all, anyways, and I'm not an Obama groupie or an Obama fan.
Me.
Right? Matter of fact, I've had old black dudes want to fight me about Obama in the barbershop because I called him all kinds of names, and he got upset
in this discussion because I have to. And that's one of the good things I had with the Joseph Project, getting other Republicans to say, that doesn't make sense. Like, we have a shortage of workers, and we got brothers coming out of prison who are looking for work. Manufacturing industry is open to re-entry, food stamps, you know, working in that whole
social services.
Social service. I've been doing social services, primarily employment, for over 20 years. So I get exactly, and I think we have a very unique opportunity.
He's already won.
He came in second.
But I thought they said Jason.
His numbers are sick.
Right, he won by like 11,000 votes. So he's primary.
Okay.
So I don't know. So there are a few names that kind of bubbled up, and you know, played by both parties.
Facts.
And so like, what are you going to do, Orlando? Like, what makes you different? I think one of the most unique things we have here, that if I am
Republican, you kind of give them an advantage in the House, and that kind of screws us on getting bills passed because you help with their.
Well, my question would be, what are the bills you're trying to pass? Because if you look at what I value.
So you willing to vote against the party?
Oh, I have no problem doing that. Okay. I'm my own man, my own voice.
There we go.
I have my. I'm going to sign. My district itself is 80%. Well, if not, I won't be there long within 2 weeks. Right. So I have no problem. I vote for Democrats now. I voted for Jason Fields. I'm voting for Lena Taylor. I'm going to vote for David Crowley. I have no problem. I've been working with these my cousins. The truth of the matter is, I've dated many of their cousins.
You got a Becky right now?
My wife.
I hope you ain't doing back. They call you out on this show. I'm telling you,
my wife is black. Right. My wife does natural hair.
Because of Trump, he said he met white Republicans like that. Well,
then we have a discussion to have, because I will say this. I hadn't jumped on any Republican train. I've been a Republican a long time. Okay. So to say, well, he's not, check my resume, because obviously you don't know who I am.
I'm telling you, look, he says, before my phone died, what did he say? Once he get it in, his entire banana scholar, we don't respect no false, what they call it.
The shooting, you know what I'm saying? Like, for these brothers that's coming out of prison to have this blemish on their black background, coming from a city that we know is mass incarceration, that a lot of these brothers were set up to go there. You see what I'm saying? But the rhetoric that they have to put up with, being that they already have this blemish, like, what is the process of making sure
that we let you in?
Facts.
So give him the phone number.
So Orlando wants to, Orlando got to talk to you.
Somebody asked for the phone number.
We definitely want to be able
you got your own going
to support him.
Both.
So
okay,
that's a real issue.
That's
the culture of a company, and we look at that. The companies that we partner with are very clear on the population that we never purposely want to put anyone in any type of
Miller who don't live in the city, who are making $40 an hour, who dominate the workforce down there.
Answer the phone.
They're Republicans.
I am Austin, and I'm calling from the west side of Milwaukee.
Hey, Austin.
Okay,
Peace,
west side is
peace.
the best side. What's poppin'?
So, Caucasian in Milwaukee is a lot different than being Caucasian in Seattle. Racism was until unfortunately I came into the Milwaukee area.
Okay.
And it's systemic. And I think I have a question for the gentleman that is running.
Yes.
Lando.
What I understand he's Republican, correct, for that term. And my question is, I was watching a little bit of the dialogue, and I did comments, and I went to our school system because dialogue and debate is healthy for a democracy, in my opinion. Change once he goes into the seat as a conservative. And my question is, what is the evidence that within the council and the leadership here on down?
Okay.
And I look at crime, and I look at each of the big categories, and what have they done so far to implement change, and what would it hurt to get
a little bit. Now you are asking, what have conservatives done? What have they done to hurt the city of Milwaukee? The people of color?
So yeah, why are so many people against?
Okay. That's
conservative.
That's okay. I want to get that question.
I got
I'm
something
going to
to
defer to the panel.
Okay.
Okay. Can I go first?
Man,
Yeah.
it's your show, brother.
Let's go.
First of all, I'd like to ask you what year you moved to Milwaukee.
2012, sir.
Okay, I've been here. I was born in 1975. I've been here the whole time, right? And when I was the highest standard of living among Black people, okay, then there's a collapse. There's a collapse of the auto industry because they start to lose globally to foreign car makers and political things, especially with Ronald Reagan, who came in and implemented was supposed to be trickle down economics. This is this is something that was done by conservative white people. Ronald Reagan is the hero of the Republican Party. And that's why I always wanted to push Barack, because they allowed that because they said they wanted to prevent communism in South America. The United States said, okay, we'll let y'all ship them to us. Now go watch Narcos, all this about Pablo Escobar. We talking about dudes who shipping 70 to 80 metric tons of cocaine into the United States on a monthly, weekly basis, right? But then by the time you get to Milwaukee and it's only 3.5 grams of mixed cocaine and it's been cooked.
Facts.
It's only $150. You know what I'm saying? Maximum you're gonna make $300, $50,000 a year to keep me incarcerated. Skippy was anti-Milwaukee for a long time. First of all, Skippy didn't even have a college degree, so I realized technically because I have 4, I'm overqualified to be the governor of the state of Wisconsin. Okay, and then Skippy had a hard-on for Milwaukee, so he snatched the money.
Yeah.
When we went through the housing crisis, the blighted properties that was against people of color. We have a problem in our community with gun violence. And all we asking is that you do thorough background checks and that you say mentally ill. These white people in Wisconsin won't even vote for it because they drive around hunting deer up north all week, right? So you and liberals as well have continuously perpetuated this system that's kept us broken down and subjugated. Go ahead, Bo.
So
I come behind that.
We have there's city tax, correct? And my understanding is it goes to like
taxing. So anybody
So there's a portion of your property tax that go to the state. You see state tax, if not all, go to the state of Wisconsin, and then in turn, to your point, we turn around and we divvy that money back to the local municipalities.
And Milwaukee is the biggest tax.
But yet we're not receiving all that money. And my question is, what has Milwaukee done in my years? So I've been here about 8 years. What have
you said my life.
And isn't that a big problem?
That's a real big problem.
Definitely a big problem. But Bull, if you wanted to go ahead.
Yeah. Go back and excuse me. I wanted to talk about what we were just talking about, the original question or whatever. Sure. It may not be so bad as far racially. Well, I want to say that when you look at the situation from your eyes, it's different from when you look at the situation.
It's unhealthy. It's horrible. So that's I want to make sure that we're on.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. Well, I heard you wrong, but okay. Then it was another part of the question which you had, and you had said, "What have conservatives done could be nothing? That they've done nothing is what they've done to hurt
on
the
local
community."
level.
What I'm exactly exactly.
Local, high, middle.
Understand, like I said, this state is 86% white, so it doesn't matter if Milwaukee's mayor is a Democrat. If the majority in the legislature is Republican, it ain't nothing moving. Which is what even this is a Republican movement, and this is a move that they pulled off in our state legislature to change the laws, right? Early voters.
Yes,
and then they tried to do a voter purge.
Yes,
where you're getting rid of 100,000. So if you ask me what they've done, that's evidence of it right there. They do not want the people of color here to prosper. They don't want Latinos and Black people, because we understand that a big portion of what powers our state is the prison system revenue.
The poverty of us having.
Yeah, that too.
Less.
And then you look at who's going to the prison.
Facts. So I mean, take on it is that they have done nothing, so they are more guilty because of be a part of this system, watching certain things, and you purposely stand by and watch individuals suffer. You are worse than the individuals that's claiming that they're trying to do something, because you ain't doing a damn thing.
Well, we actually have a Republican here, so we bashed him, and the question was directed at him. Is like, look, I want to tell this brother, I agree with you. I've been here a long time. My point is, we know it's the most. We know it's the most. We just try to give you some background on why things.
Yes.
I've seen the Black worker be replaced with the Black inmate, and that's what they wanted the agenda to be. So I hope that answered your question, man. Thank you for calling in and supporting the show, bro.
Because as long as you don't steal, you can
come into the studio. If you steal, you can't come over.
Hey, I don't mind being the white boy amongst all the rest of them, and I don't mind being the Megan McCain of the people on the team. I'm happy to come in, and I certainly would love. I would be honored to be amongst.
Awesome.
Have a good night. There is, sometimes is that, that disconnect of how policy meets, you know, and I think that's, I agree with a lot of things you said. I agree that, I think when Brother Bull said, like, the Republicans kind of just stood by.
Yes.
And they let it happen. The Republicans will say, well, you have the leaders from the city of Milwaukee, and then, what have they done? And I get that, when we have the power, you can make some changes. And I think that's, for me, one of the things that gives me my independent voice as a candidate. I didn't agree with all the crime bills that the Republicans just proposed. Part of the issue is you guys didn't bring it to the community. And you would have got more buy-in from a lot of people if they were common sense legislation, things that protected the victim. I'm with that. Yeah. But I'm not so much with the revocation process.
Right.
I work with the guys from the Joseph Project. I did reenter.
You understand that.
I'm like, well, I like this system.
Because it's good.
Time. Let them go break up rocks and walk in chains.
That's basically all they do.
If it's rehab and you got programming, then that means once they pay their debts to society, they should be allowed back into society under a certain level of supervision. The criminal justice system is screwed up because we are convicted disproportionately versus our white counterparts for the same crime.
Yeah,
and that's right. We voted for
but the road to mass incarceration is a little bit complicated because the crack epidemic was so severe that at the time the Black community just wanted relief. So we basically dropped it.
And for me,
it's hot.
And I think and I do appreciate the dialogue. I think that's one of the uniqueness of my campaign, my candidacy, that I am in those rooms so I can have a discussion of bully pulpit.
Right.
Because every vote I cast, everything I do, the microphone will be in my face.
You are
correct. What you think?
You are
and
correct.
So when that happens, there are things that I can probably around people.
Yeah.
They're gonna look and say, well, how you treating the one Black Republican you got that I know? We just had different viewpoints, but I think if we are, I think there's a time to play checkers.
Yeah.
And I think there's time to play chess. I think it's time to play chess.
I don't know why the lie keeps dropping. Excuse me.
Because it's hot.
I don't know.
So
something wrong with my throat. Corona, right? The sickness in the United States of America, and just not the coronavirus.
Real talk.
Like, because a lot of our dysfunction is women being murdered, children being murdered, people just pulling out guns, just popping people in the head, right? The whole show will be, I'll put the YouTube up, y'all. So y'all can watch the whole show. I guess that's where YouTube comes in handy finally.
Yeah.
Right? When Facebook is screwing up on me. So, but I'm saying, like, we have a deeply rooted sickness in our community.
Yes, we do.
Because we have a serious situation with misogyny, molested, accosted, sex trafficking. There's a level of perversion in our community. Morally, we are corrupt and inept in our community in a lot of instances. Why? Because this is just a situation that's financial. But then the habits of poor people come into play. And then the mentality of poor people, the
learned behavior,
the learned behaviors, the cultural, because it's a bunch of people who don't have any hopes, dreams, aspirations, no real way out that they can see. If they took the time, that they could probably find it. But in some cases, you're talking about generations, especially in Milwaukee, generational poverty is huge here.
Facts.
There's families here who've been poor for the better part of 70 years.
Yes.
And the only way to break that is to have, like Biggie said, a wicked jump shot, or you're slinging crack rock. The sickness as well, man. And now we come to this point where we had this coronavirus pandemic. People don't know what pandemic means. It means worldwide with no vaccination. They have not a definitive shot, as they call it. Now, there are people that I see that have corona and they recover.
Apparently. Yeah. Okay. They're saying that it's basically all about being hydrated.
Okay.
Individuals like
people who have compromised immune system.
Remember earlier in the show, I said about oxygenated system.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And how do you oxygenate the body? One is to put water in the body.
Okay. Right.
You know what I'm saying? This shit is simpler than they make it look.
Hydrate.
To get off of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And you drink water.
Hydrate.
This shit, it's not, like I said, man, we make shit hard. Life is easy. We make the shit hard, man. Don't forget our bodies heal itself.
Right. And when you're talking about, the violence upon women and children, but we mainly have to get to the out at. If you're not able to
Miller Coors shooting.
Understand, not healthy relationships. I've been in and out of myself.
On a vote for the union. You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about the head woman that was over HR, that was called niggers and everything else. Like, ain't nothing new to this. You dig what I'm saying? Like, this is an ongoing thing, and we know that this country was built off of that racism and everything else. So when we start to be real and have real conversations of everybody trying to downplay, water it down, sugarcoat shit, like, we're going to continue to be in the same position that our forefathers were dealing with on a day-to-day freaking basis. And that's what I'm saying. Like, no longer should we sugarcoat. No longer can we continue to be silent. No longer can we allow. We're talking about finding nooses. That is a fucking death threat. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Especially coming from where the fuck we come from. Like, y'all act like y'all don't know how we got this way.
Like, conservatives, it seems like a lot of times they don't speak to, I'll talk over your head, or,
That's what's going on right now with Miller Coors. I was just going to say, I was going to build on all that with it, what you were saying too. And you know what I'm saying? So this is the problem right here. Because see, if Miller Coors start talking about it, y'all got to start. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things, I think they don't want to admit that shit because they feel like reparations are going to come in that same conversation.
Yeah, right. And they deserve reparation. That his family deserves. Shit is going on. Reparations. We deserve.
If you admit it, then you got to pay for it.
Exactly.
But you need to. And the bottom line is like, if we don't continue to apply, because one main thing we got to do is be on the same fucking page when it comes to shit like this, because it's not going to stop with that family. It's going to be your family or somebody else's family next. Because
there's somebody down there right now who's at that point already.
Correct.
He went first.
He sure did.
There's somebody down there. I got this important. And Nick McVeigh, who's running the sixth.
No, Tory's running in the.
And I got his shit right here too, so I'm remedial. But he dropped off this. He's submitted basically a motion about an ethical violation in which the Common Council voted to have the DNC here. Thing. I keep telling them this. Here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee, the black leaders and black Democrats are all controlled by a couple different groups of white people who are lobbyists. About
Nation Consulting.
Nation Consulting got the contract to be the DNC. Supposedly not enough aldermen, because they did this meeting. It wasn't a regular Common Council meeting. They called a special one. I believe there were 6 people missing.
Yep.
So they voted on this. Two black Democrats, I don't let y'all off the hook. I'm not gonna say his name.
Mhm.
He controls most of the black leaders of what they do, the nation consulting. So when you got politicians that are sitting in office and they're all bankrolled, Republican lobbyists controlling black quote unquote progressives or Democrats. Shout out to Nick McVeigh.
Man, shout out to
And
Nick.
he gave me a laminated pretty copy too. He put a binder on it like, Kevin, you'll love this. And it's all here. This is all research. There's nothing false. None of that. Look, he even has who contributes to who's
finance
campaign.
report. Yes.
Right, you got the finance report. Contributions to committees, right?
Yeah.
Mama for Milwaukee, Spiker for Milwaukee, Marcella for Milwaukee, Friends of Jay. Y'all want me to put this up?
Individuals was really contributing even over the $5,000 that the max that was supposed to be put up. So we also have to talk about, like, I mean, it's just corruption all the way around the board, even to the fact of
campaign finance reports.
Yeah. And it's all we're talking about the aldermen and all of these districts who strong arming a lot of these companies. Because even when I was out knocking on doors and going to these mom and pop stores, they were saying, like, I would like to put a sign up or something, but they're not gonna renew my license or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So they being strong armed and they're suffering in silence as well. And a lot of these politicians already know what
the church from a militant, real I think as a man of the cloth. But the brothers, it was YouTube, but I think the brothers we had like 50,000 deacons when I think
the youth did. It
was like 50, 60 men, right?
But now they in prison.
Well, I don't know, but brothers just ain't, because there's supposed to be a separation between church and state. And I think right now, a lot of the parishioners in Milwaukee get funding from downtown for their quote unquote ministries, and it prevents them from being my example is I deal with Robert Miranda and the Freshwater for Life Action Group. I've been to major events. We had shout out to Fred Royal. We had Fred Royal on here who represents the NAACP, the president. And I asked him, where was the NAACP? I said, well, we had somebody that was in the crowd. I didn't know. I knew that the Nation of Islam was there. I knew that the Panthers was there. We stood with Robert Miranda and Flack and Chris Johnson and Kingfish MKE, and they had scholars scientists was on Mayor Barrett just there with all the evidence showing the zones, where the pipes is, how much it'll cost. And Mayor Barrett kept saying, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me get back with you.
What? Yeah. Water? What? Remember at first he said, get some filters.
Get some filters.
Then like 5 years later, he was like, I didn't know. We was like, no, you the same up
like St. Matthews. I'm talking about water damage in the ceilings. This is where all
Where's that at?
On right off of Locust. I don't know the exact address, but the community brainstorming.
I thought that was at St. Mark.
St. Mark. St. Mark is a school.
St. Mark. I mean, St. Mark on Capitol, the African Episcopalian.
I think she teaches down at MAT. All of these politicians, and that's where the video that I shared on the People Network, where Rick from the Black Panther went down there and was asking them, like, how are y'all sitting down here lying in the basement of the church, blase, whatever. But I went to a couple of those events, and when you looking at the conditions of the church, it's horrific.
Okay.
And you have all of these individuals coming in. But I spoke to a brother at one of the community forums where he was like, do you realize that state and church is supposed to be separate? But he was like, do you realize back in the day, that was the only way Black people could talk to the politicians, being stuck into the church.
Right.
He was like, so we also have to remember that back then, that's how we were sneaking, like we would happen in the Black church.
Yeah, but they also bombed one.
Facts.
So they crossed the line when they did that. So that's over. It's a new day. I don't want to sit at your lunch counter if you're going to spit on my sandwich. I've made a mockery of right.
Yeah. I think, and when you look at the term conservative, I'll just say it like this: most Black people and brown people of color, we tend to be morally conservative or socially liberal.
Okay.
And so that's not I was doing.
Right. Well, what Eddie Murphy say, you get your piece of evil ass. Exactly. Evil is good.
I'm very active in my church, my community as well. Is this really a really big issue? You're right. We need to be more engaging.
Well, why aren't they? I don't. If you got this organization that has funding, and you have some status, and you have some people that can ride with you, the bigger the gang, the bigger the bang. I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. I take that back. But it's a shame that these pastors, not all of them, because I know there are some mighty men of God out there. I know there are.
I'm not gonna preach.
Right, all the way back to my great granddaddy. So I know it's some dudes who stand on it where they at though. Because it pissed me off too because Vince has been trying to create an inroads in his district, and by going to the church and saying, hey, well, if y'all gonna let politicians speak, allow me to come from. So the next time he comes, he's got to run through this maze.
Yeah.
And he let me hear the voicemail from how to. Also, let me explain to you how our protocol here is in our church. Don't even call him back.
Right.
This is what's going on in our district.
But if you're not a part of that system, and that's why when I go into a lot of these churches, I look for that plaque from the city.
Okay. Yeah.
If they have that proclamation or whatever, like they've been bought. You dig what I'm saying? Like, and you have to understand that certain individuals have a green light of coming in, and that's what I'm trying to, and allow these politicians to come in, a lot of these children, and a lot of us, and then that following Sunday, you tell them that this is sacred ground, and that
how you wear a robe on Sundays. I'll snatch that robe off of you. Don't be calling me trying to act tough because you in your man. I'll come up there and kick that little fake door down and drag your ass to your Lincoln. You call. Vince is a good dude.
A good dude.
This is why you should vote for Vince.
Yes.
Like that, because I get mad, right? And if you call me back like that, dude, first of all, before you know it, I'm not returning your call. You gonna hear do.
Hey, pull up.
Who's that at my door? You gonna open the door and be standing there like, now what was you saying on the phone?
Exactly.
Talk to me now.
Right. Same way.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Oh,
okay.
So you can look me up. I'm there. I get a second for a little scuffle, you know. When it's about politics and your side versus my side, in the end, the people are the one who suffer.
Say it.
Then you stuck. That's why you need to go out.
Play along and get along.
Well, that CDBG money is divvied up long before it hits Milwaukee. Trust me.
Oh yes.
Been involved in the submission of the RFPs for the CDBG money, and I seen who gets the main scrape off the top. And then the little crumbs for the small players.
So one of the things we looked at when I worked for something, you got to lay these people off because you should have put them on. The city got administrative costs, and then they said, well, you got to look at the policy of the federal government that says you can have 10% on each level of government, stepping on it. You see everybody get their cut. Like, wait a minute. Then the people who actually need to get the money, who should be served by the money, they never receive the money.
What they get is $40,000.
Only be $40,000.
Your boy Barrett won't even allow an outside audit of it. He won't even allow it.
Of course not.
When you look at people who are in poverty,
community development block grant money, which is as a main vein for their budget.
Yes.
Now this is, I believe, when I was involved, federal money that's allocated to invest. See on North Avenue and Walnut and Center and Cherry and all that shouldn't be like that.
Period.
Because there's $20 million that are supposed to be allocated specifically to the city of Milwaukee, so they rebound better from it than us. But specifically over here, the Boys and Girls Club. The YWCA,
CYD.
CYD's gone now. SDC, the Urban League, and I guess the NAACP ain't privy enough to it because they ain't active no more. But didn't go. Well, CYD, that building been closed up now. Unless there's a new initiative, unless they got a new building.
I got some flyers.
Give them to me because
that's definitely gonna
CYD been defunct for a while.
Maybe COA.
Maybe COA.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, COA's pop.
Okay.
Pop popcorn.
You get a huge
CYD is
yeah, you're right. COA. Because they're saying it's like a camp.
Yeah. Well, it's always money allocated from the government for a hot button topic to appease certain individuals who are running. Well, okay, I need to read. I'm saying, like, okay, so we look at like these parties. Why are we choosing their methodology? Because to be honest with you, you get the people together, we'll give you the money to do this.
Okay.
You got some black people who got printing companies. If you're doing the right thing, they'll do this for you. Okay. So for us to keep saying, well, I need the white man to do me a fancy flyer, I think that's just kind of like, okay, well, you end up in the same situation, waiting on him, asking him for something. I do want to say this to you.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like you to answer this question because this is something that we can fight, and it benefited the other people as well as the white people. White people have lied about every treaty, every law he wrote, he violated. That's how you know it should be against the law.
It's violating procedure.
He's as Native Americans, he's broken almost every treaty. Could we be your friend and send some drones and blow some shit up with some missiles? White people, I'm not making this up. Even in sports,
what the corona is.
In sports, you go to a college, they give you a $75,000 a year scholarship, and then they make $5 million off of you selling your jersey. Yeah. You go in the pros, he give you $100 million. Yes. It's not beneficial. I broke every bone in my body. But in the last 40 years, it's
Yeah,
not
no
working.
help.
They've gotten rich when we got.
And I would love to have them in the 11th Assembly District. We have plenty of land. I'm a great salesman.
Oh, you gonna sell up? Come on, man.
Well,
And
I'm
we're
with
dying.
you.
Stinking
I'm
ass
definitely,
cow.
you know,
And then be mad at us like, oh, you stuck up ass niggas
But
don't
then
want you
what about
slaughterhouse.
the? Yes,
I
it
thought that
was.
deer.
No,
be.
it was cows.
It wasn't.
Yeah, when it comes to us in our community, like the shit that y'all they put out proposed for us is like, so do you want to die by to start holding individuals accountable people? And I don't care who you are or what you are. First, do what it is that we're doing, which is having real fucking dialogues about real shit that's going on in the city of Milwaukee and what the fuck you gonna do. Your walk, what I'm gonna do in my walk, what you know what I'm saying, my brothers on my left gonna do and they walk, so we can come together. Incarceration, they're being counted in these knockoff ass counties and not the city of Milwaukee, but this is where they're coming back to. You dig what I'm saying?
So when you look at and I want to be nice.
I mean, you've been fair with me.
But I want to say, like, when you look at your not smoke up my ass, so I'll go out here and toe they party line and deliver some Negro. So tell me, when you weigh that historically they've been the most crooked now with them.
So for me, you know, I'm always going to be first and foremost a minister. You know, so I give forgiveness, but at the same time, I am definitely reformer inside the party. I'm holding the party accountable.
Okay.
The same way I've told. So I've been in meetings when we're having this whole issue of the opiates. They were like, "Oh, we need to make more." These are white conservative Republicans. Like, when y'all call this a crime and lock brothers up to this day, so I got to speak the truth when it's there. And they sat back, and they looked as being a truth teller. It's going to be there'll be some Republicans that support me. There's going to be some who won't. There'll be some Democrats who we want the church Democrat. We want the labor guy. We want, and I may not get a lot of liberals, but we want them because black folk are not
60% minority. Yeah, but what they don't understand is that, you know, because black people say we just want to do what the elected officials are doing above our heads kind of dictates our quality of life.
That's right.
So a lot of us are just voted. Somebody gonna win something.
Yeah.
And we try to say, you know, don't let them, you know, put that bug in your ear about Lena or DC. A lot of us still saying, I ain't with that shit.
And then make sure you say the same things that get in Orlando in
patch, man. We'll give a conservative brother an Outlaw Radio patch.
Hey,
we'll give him
what's up now?
You know how we moving. You knew that you was coming into the Terror Dome.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
dig what I'm saying?
Yes,
And you know he still showed up. So just kudos for that. And on top of the fact, you know what I'm saying, the Outlaws and come in and stand on what it is you stand on. Because like I said, I've spoken with you, and I've never sugarcoated nothing.
Yes,
You dig what I'm saying?
That's what she do.
And my tone never changed. You know what I'm saying? When I was calling them out, like while y'all standing up in here talking about, you've always kept it 100. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that.
I appreciate it. And one thing that I definitely support what you guys do. That's how my daddies
Your wife gonna be like, but baby, they're so profound.
Oh, he said that.
Current graduate, you know, being an was and understand our people, and that's what I want people to understand. Like our issues that we're facing, it's above politics, y'all. It's about people. We have to elect the right people, and that's the only thing I can hope for in my election. That let the party be, you know, if they want to make this about party, then I'll lose.
Right.
I'll lose. It's not something I want to do or some pie in the sky. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give y'all. I'm doing this right now. You know, as I take one of the things Lena said, but I added a little twist to it. I got receipts in these streets. I'm in the community, and I also let my Republican Party say things. I had to let them know, like, stop calling Democrats. I said, you're not gonna get Democrats to vote for us. You're gonna call them stupid. That's my mama didn't call them stupid, man. My mother-in-law, they. You know, my mother-in-law, my dad-in-law, they're a pastor, Steve and Mary Folks. Folks is a big church family. Well, he can't call because they believe the union, and that's what allows out jobs. So you got to respect the relationship there among black people.
With them.
I think you're there because there was a struggle there, and it's still a struggle. That's all right now at the middle course. What was the brotherhood at for this? Right. But I give a healthy respect for it. You have to also,
your party is
my campaign is so unique, and that's why I say when you talk about me and you. Talk about issues, Kev. You're gonna say this brother's okay on the issues. You all right? And you might say, you know what, he understands.
Yeah,
he values the issues. He's a kid from the city.
Hey, as long as you ain't disillusioned by him and brainwashed, and then try to come on here and
now reparations. I think on some levels, for first, let me start here. I'm still waiting for my 40 acres and a mule.
Okay,
and that contract wasn't held up. So now the whole question of reparations, I don't really have
I like what reparations, if you bring it up to today's, because for inflation.
Right now.
And what I would say is that reparations should be. Yes. We're talking about financial literacy. We're talking
about land.
We're talking about Black people being able to get the same kind of business, architecture firms and engineering firms. Do you see? You see Black barbershops, beauty shops, churches, car washes, record stores, T-shirts, CDs, DVDs, socks. You don't see a alley. They out there doing startups. We ain't getting in that.
And I tell you, man, I'm with you, because for me, my Black college experience was mind blowing.
Okay.
To see Black, intelligence on display. That we did have scholars in every aspect, every
Morris Brown now. I hope you got out of there.
Engineers. I think we have right next door in Ohio, we got Black universities. So when I hear white Wisconsin say we can't find qualified Black people, we have a whole system of Black schools and scholars. You can't tell me that. I went to one.
Right.
So don't tell me we don't have
I went to a historically white college or university.
Got their PhD and they still
working at St. Charles.
See,
man, I used to work there.
So my man Mark
I worked out there for a long time, and I got a lot of partners that are like, well, kid, you going out. No,
I'm still confused on why we don't have the black prison here, for the prison back here.
Well, because we didn't want it.
To say they didn't want them Black kids too close to them. I'm like, well, how you don't want the Black kids? These are Black kids.
But see, the thing about that is, and I totally get why they didn't want it, because again, let's talk about Charles and other individuals that, yes.
Who was you there?
Recently, I'm on workers' comp right now. You know what I'm saying? Dude,
see, I've been gone
over a year and a half, but the things that's happening with our babies, it's a cycle that's being perpetuated for them to just age out of the system and go straight into prison.
Yes.
There is no, just like there is for our brothers that's in prison, there is no preparing them to be citizens. They're preparing them to be convicts being sent to a period. They don't have no programs in place or anything.
I want to see that change as a Republican.
I wanted to facility. It was going to be more of kind of like a youth detention process.
Actually, there were 3 prisons or 3 facilities. One of the facilities works for high level.
So it would have been a lockdown.
It would be a prison. So these would be people who committed murder. The children's court needed more room. They needed to expand, which was the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
The lower level, more treatment center. So they needed more space. They were looking for a space right there on, I want to say, Mill Road.
Right, that's the one I'm talking about.
So I'm talking about one's going to be on Tatonia. That all had a big old fight. Like we didn't want them here. So it was actually
there's actually Anheuser
effect that would do, putting those prisons in the middle of the hood like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you got kids growing up looking like, oh yeah, my uncle in there, my daddy in there.
To run the facility. I wanted us to control the programming in that building. I wanted us to give oversight. But these are our kids. They're coming back home when they get done with their big. They're coming right back to our community. So if we're going to help them to transition or to teach, we need to run the programs in that building. We need to be hiring the guards in that building, and we need to be giving it oversight. And it's right down the street on Tatonia. I can walk from my house to Tatonia if that facility was.
Well, I do.
Job-wise, gotta be good. Yeah. But you know what I mean? That still ain't addressing the issue. It's like with the Miller Coors thing. Miller Coors ain't addressing the issue on why this is happening.
And then we can't, as a people, allow us to continue to die.
And you know, they talk about rehab and all that type of thing. Rehab and nothing, because see, in order to really rehab, they just gonna tell you, no, you ain't supposed to do this, you can't do that. Come to this meeting, come to that meeting.
Fucking rules in place. You know that they know you special needs, what they call in ADHD, like being overly fucking medicated. We're not talking about those issues. Instead of building prisons, take the fucking lead out, put some poison in that was real fucking aggressive and everything else, instead of putting in place these fucking prisons, because
we're normalized prison. You know what I'm saying? Because we see it so.
For me, I even preached on this topic one time. You can't. To rehabilitate gives the impression that someone was at one time habilitated.
Right.
You can't read nothing that never has been.
Right.
If we're gonna do it,
well, I want to ask this question: allocation,
power.
But the one thing we haven't talked about is that the Church of God in Christ are the gatekeepers for the faith-based initiative.